Let's move along. Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders' 2020 campaign seems to be catching the attention, at least of some Democratic insiders, finally, as some new reports highlight his potential to win the party's nomination. Politico reporting that over the past few weeks, Democratic officials, political operatives, and pundits have reconsidered Sanders' chances in 2020. They point to Senator Elizabeth Warren's recent slide in the polls, as well as Senator Sanders enduring the ups and downs of the primary race, including his bounce back after a heart attack in October, while other candidates have either dropped out or are polling in single digits. The Politico piece points to the latest CNN SSRS poll, which shows Sanders has the highest net favorability rating of any Democratic presidential candidate. And the New York Times is up with a story pointing out that with less than 6 weeks until voting begins now, Sanders sits at the top of the polls in Iowa and other early voting states. His supporters' loyalty has made him a contender, with almost 60% of likely Iowa Democratic caucus goers saying their support for the Vermont senator is locked in. That's according to the latest Des Moines Register poll. This could result in a strong showing for Sanders at the February caucus, of course, where candidates must receive at least 15% of support at a caucus site in order to collect the site's share of delegates. Mike Barnicle, I turn to you as someone who's watched a lot of these presidential races. When these polls come up seemingly every morning, and we might talk about Mayor Pete's rise or how Joe Biden has stabilized, Bernie Sanders every time. Talk about durability in Joe Biden. How about Bernie Sanders? Hangs out right there in that second slot, right around where Joe Biden is, and increasingly distancing himself from Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah, in addition to the word durability, underline it next to Bernie Sanders, you can also underline consistency, and you can underline predictability and loyalty. All of his followers, they have been with him for many, many years. They didn't just sort of jump on the Sanders train a few months ago. They have been with him for many, many years, even prior to his announced run for the presidency. And the survival factor here, including the heart attack, is absolutely amazing when you think about it. That, plus the fact that you've seen pictures of him with a baseball bat, he's got a pretty good swing for a guy his age. And little top-handed, heavy, probably, not a pull hitter.
That's all right.
But really good.
Not in all the field. He also can shoot a mid-range jumper. Don't sleep on his basketball game. Heidi, let me read you a poll that was circulating yesterday that was kind of stunning. Gabe D. Benedetti gets the hat tip here from New York Magazine. The Real Clear Politics average on December 19th of 2018 had Joe Biden at 27.5, Sanders at 19% support. Exactly 1 year later, December 19th, 2019, Joe Biden 27.8, Bernie Sanders 19.3. So for all the ups and downs of this race over the course of a year, there they stand, the two at the top, of exactly where they were a year ago.
Yeah, first of all, Willie, you guys never came to me on Home Alone, but I just can't believe, I cannot believe that you guys wouldn't believe that Justin Trudeau would be on the phone with the night editor at the Canadian Broadcasting Company the night before Christmas saying, cut Donald Trump.
Very hands-on, yes.
Yes, that's very disingenuous of you. But on Bernie, he's remained very resilient, and that's a reflection of the fact that his followers are very loyal. It's a reflection of the fact that Elizabeth Warren has stumbled, and that is a portion of the vote that may start to consolidate around Bernie, but it's also a reflection of the fact that he hasn't come under the same type of withering scrutiny and criticism that some of these other candidates have, like Joe Biden and like Elizabeth Warren. So the next thing I'm going to be watching for is whether those gloves do come off with Bernie Sanders on his record of accomplishment in the Senate, because while he has been consistent over a lifetime on his issues, and that's why his supporters love him and view him as very genuine, at the same time, the reality is that because of the way the Senate operates and the fact that there is unlikely to be a huge blowout that massively shifts the balance of power, even if Democrats do gain control, it will make it very hard for him to get some of his marquee promises through the Senate. And so let's see if he comes under that type of criticism from Joe Biden, asking him, hey, Bernie, I served with you in the Senate. Which one of these things that you have been pushing for 20, 30 years have you actually gotten through the Senate? That is where that line of attack will come if we see it. And that will definitely happen if these numbers continue to consolidate. Because, Joe Biden's big concern here is that he loses Iowa. then he almost certainly has a real tough time getting New Hampshire. So can he regain his footing in South Carolina? A full frontal attack on Bernie, if he is the guy with the momentum at that point, is going to be almost necessary.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.